Alright, what's up everybody? This is Joe Daddy, aka Tusky87, back at you one more time with another how-to video. And right here, what I have before me, some of y'all may recognize this, is the MakerBot Replicator 5th generation. Now, what I'm going to show you today is how to take a $400 fix and repair your MakerBot Z-axis issue with $30. Now the issue with these MakerBot and a lot of 3D printers in general is that there's a lot of talk about the Z-axis motor or the plate riser and leveler malfunctioning, not raising up all the way or not holding a position. And you'll read online, see different discussions about people saying, well, you need to download this software, you need to upload this firmware, you need to do all these different things to get your Z-axis motor running. And sometimes it could just be as simple as you need to replace the motor. However, if you get with MakerBot and you call them up and say, hey, this is what's going on, they'll send you through some, pitiful tutorial telling you how to go through these troubleshooting methods, which ultimately end up in you having to pay $400 to ship your 3D printer back to get a new refurbished one, if you will. So I'm going to show you how to take your $400, save that, and only apply $30 of it to fix your printer at home without having to worry about it being shipped off somewhere else in the hopes that it comes back to you in time. And I kind of already disassembled this, so I'm just going to show you step by step what you need to do and the screws that you need to unloosen so you don't run into the same issues that I did when dismantling this, so you don't dismantle the wrong things. And the first thing that you want to do is come to the back. You'll see that there are multiple screws and bolts in the back of your plate here, and really you want to disconnect or unscrew all of these screws so that you can pull the back panel off. Of course, you want to disconnect the AC cord, and your Ethernet cord, and whatever other cords you have connected here. And once you get all that unscrewed, you can actually leave these 4 screws sitting up in here. However, the rest of them will need to come off. And once you do that, you will need to do a slight lifting action, because in here, in these little rectangular cutouts here, is where the back plate actually sits down and is resting on the shelf that sticks out. So anyway, you lift up slightly and then you just pull the whole backing off. Now once you pull it out, you get access to the whole backing and inner workings of the 3D print itself. Now, I also have my, spindle carrier, if you will, pulled out as well. And this is pretty simple to pull out. You have your pull out here, your release latch here. So you just pull your release latch, slide it up all the way. Then once it gets all the way up to the top, you're going to have to put a little bit of force in it to get it out all the way. That's what I did starting off. And you'll notice that this little lip piece right here will catch on the back plate here, so that'll give you a little bit of issue trying to pull it out. What I did was I just kept this held down and I just pulled it straight up. This flexed a little bit, but obviously it didn't break, and I just pulled that straight out so it was out of the way. And you need to do that so that you can get to where your motor spindle is. And again, mine is already taken out, but originally it was sticking out of this hole here. And your build plate backing, which is connected here, you'll also need to dismantle that as well. And to be able to get that out first, what I did was unscrew these 4 bolts here. And what you'll need for this is a couple of different tools. You'll need a Phillips head screwdriver, of course. You'll need a T15, I believe, star pattern. So you'll need one of these, a T15, and you'll also need a T8. Now I don't have a T8 here to show you, but you can kind of see how it goes here. But you will need a T8 to loosen up these bolts here, and of course a T15 to loosen up the rest of the bolts throughout the rest of the printer. So once you loosen everything up, you'll pull all of that out, and now you get to this point to where you need to actually tilt the whole entire plate level back, and along with these guide bars as well. So you'll actually have to pull hard on these to actually pop them out. But once you pop them out, you can flex it enough and you just rotate your little spindle that's sitting here, especially if your motor's dead. It won't hurt anything. It's just an electric motor, so it's not like any damage is going to be done there mechanically. But you rotate it up until the plate slides all the way up. You can do it that way, or either you can take the bottom of the plate and unscrew the 4 screws that hold the riser to the build plate. And for some reason I just forgot where it is. Oh, here it is. So you have these 4 screws here that you can disconnect and just pull it straight up, or you can do what I did and just unscrew the spindle all the way until it comes out at the top here. Now you're gonna have to put just a little bit of force to pop these rods out, but once you pop the rods out, you just do simply like I did here, and again making sure that the motor is disconnected from the base. You just slide these back and raise your plate, your build plate all the way up. Now make sure you actually disconnect your build plate from this back plate here so that you can get it all the way out. Take your glass out and all of that too so it doesn't get damaged. Once you get all of that done, then you can slide your plate out, take it out, and then you can begin to start removing some more screws. So here you have, and actually one thing I forgot to mention, before you go through and you disconnect all of these different things, you actually want to test your motor to make sure your motor is actually bad. And one way to do that is to disconnect your Z-axis direct connect cords and grab another one. You can grab it from the X-axis or the Y-axis. You can pull that out and from a different motor and plug it into your Z-axis motor, and then you can do what I did, which is the level function on your 3D printer. You do that. If the motor rotates while it's connected, then your motor's not bad. Then yes, it probably is something to do with your firmware, software, or whatever the case may be. However, if it doesn't move once you disconnected these and these motors were working before, then yes, it is something wrong with your motor and you need to get a new motor. That's a simple, quick, and easy diagnostic method that you can use to determine what is the actual problem. So once you determine that, go ahead and work everything out. You will actually need to disconnect your Z-axis. You can leave these plugged in. You don't need to disconnect those at all. But there will be some more screws back here that you will need to unscrew. So you will need to unscrew some screws back here. You'll have one here, and one over here that you need to unscrew, and the same thing on the other side. Now the reason why you want to unscrew these is that you need to be able to slide this whole back plate of the printer out. And as you're sliding out, you have to be mindful of these, I guess what you call cable guides, grips, whatever you want to call these things. They're clamps to keep the cord going in a straight line. Either way, you want to be mindful of these, because once you unscrew all of those, you will need to start to pull this whole back piece out so that you can actually take your motor off of this bottom plate. And so in order to do that, you will actually have to give it a little bit of force. So as I did, I just started to slide it back, and oh, by the way, once you disconnect all of this stuff, you should be able to lift this up off of the base to be able to actually move this around. Anyway, so you'll need to grab about right here where my hands are and just give a little pressure inward so that you can start to slide this back, and you'll need to rock it back and forth from the top and the bottom. And again, being mindful of your cables here. It is prudent to actually move these out of the way so that they don't get severed in the process of you trying to slide this plating back. But once you do all of that, you should be able to slide it all the way back. And again, making sure all of your cords, your power cords, your HDMI cord, and all that stuff is out of the way. So as you can see, sliding it back, sliding it back, sliding it back, and now the bottom piece is caught on here, and that's the part I was talking about before. If you don't want to pull these up, you have another method, and that's kind of what I use. I actually slid my printer to the back end, and since this is a thin piece of sheet metal, if you will, you can flex it some. So as you're pulling it back, you can pull it back, pull it back, pull it back, push down, and you see how it kind of flex some so that I can get the bottom over it. And once you do that, you just want to keep sliding it back some more. Another thing I want to mention, because I forgot to do this and because I'm making a video, I want to show it to you all right. You actually want to come here, disconnect or remove this bolt here so that you can maneuver your mighty board out of the way, because you'll need to disconnect, I forgot the technical term for this flat piece of cable here, but you'll need to disconnect that from your mighty board. And the only way to get your mighty board out of the way is to unscrew this bolt here that I'm currently unscrewing now. Now make sure you keep a count of all of your bolts and everything so you don't lose them. In order to slide this out, you want to pull this back because it will get caught on this clamp here, and you don't want it to get damaged because this is a very fragile piece here. So you want to be careful of that. Also, you want to pull your HDMI cord out from the back here. I forgot to do that as well. So you'll want to do that before you move this out of the way. That way you don't damage that either.